We all know that the auction house is essential to Skyblock in its current state. But what if it never existed? It's a tricky question to answer, but in short, it's probably more impactful than you might think. So we spent a few hours researching what could happen if the auction house never existed. First, let's be a bit more specific. Are we going to discuss if the auction house never existed in the first place, or if the auction house stopped existing from now on? Let's start with if the auction house and bazaar never existed in the first place. 1. Markets. First off, there would be no actual markets for items in the game. There'd be no way to know the price of an item based on its lowest bin price or average auction sell price, and there'd be no easy way to buy or sell items. Sure, you could go to Hub 1 and look for advertisements there, but there's only 80 people in one hub, and the chances that someone has the specific item that you want is relatively low and inconsistent. 2. Discord servers. In order to solve the problem in number 1, people will start creating markets outside of Skyblock. Discord servers. Discord servers would likely be the main place people buy and sell items. We already saw things like this happen quite commonly in Discord servers before bin auctions were introduced, especially in Skyblock Z, which was the most popular server at the time. Eventually, the prices of items will begin to regulate themselves purely from people copying each other's prices in Discord servers, although prices would likely be wildly different to how they are today, as there would be no easy way to measure the supply or demand of items. These Discord servers, just like some of them today, will have sections dedicated to trading, multiple sections as well, because of how much spam and info there would be inside them, and there would be sections dedicated to certain things, like armor trading section, sword trading section, etc. People would put their username, the item they're selling, and the price they want for it. And in order for someone to verify the price of a certain item before they buy it from that person, they will go look at the prices section in that Discord server to find out if they're getting a good deal or not. Eventually, we may see somebody made their own unofficial auction house websites that would show averages and cheapest prices, with sections for people to contact sellers, almost like eBay, which could even expand into its own in-game mod. 3. The impact on the game and the community. Skyblock itself is a game that feels a little weird, since it doesn't have a certain story for you to follow. Unlike most MMORPGs like Windcraft, it doesn't give you a certain goal or objective or anything to do. It just drops you in the middle of nowhere with a tree and a cobble boy and tells you to go somewhere and do something, with no idea of what you're actually supposed to do. The auction house solves this problem, kinda, by showing people that they can sell the rare items they obtain, they can make lots of coins from that, and then buy the items other people obtain to craft their own stuff that they want, or buy items that they are already fully crafted and enchanted. Without this, players can't see what items actually exist, and might not know what to do or work towards next. 4. Other markets. Without an auction house to sell basic things everyone needs, people will create services where they get specific items for people that would otherwise take forever to get themselves. The most notable example of this is God books, which would take forever to make without the ability to just buy all of the tier 6 books needed to combine together from the auction house. If we assume the bazaar never existed too, you'd have to independently rely on people to gather large amounts of hot potato books, recombobulators, or be lucky enough to find someone with a rare accessory who is willing to sell it. Now, with these services also comes a lot of scamming, since none of these will be done inside a trading menu. But some Discord servers have a reputation system, where people can build up their reputation rank by doing services for others and not scamming them. That's great, right? Problem solved. Well, not really. You see, this rep system is positive and it does solve some small scamming issues, but it also creates a larger issue. People usually tend to build up a really good reputation and then end up scamming a big amount of coins since they are trusted, and just like that, voiding their rep. Basically trading it for coins, which happens a lot in these places and is often called cashing out. Otherwise, if you don't want to rely on those services, then you're on your own to do a bunch of grinding for even the most basic things which not everyone has the time or attention span for. 5. The scams, toxicity, and market manipulation. Since those Discord servers are the only way you could actually obtain items you don't want to grind for, and since you would have to trade everything with people one-on-one, things might start getting out of hand. Even though a trading system exists, people would still find countless exploits and ways to cheat and scam others, whether it's a simple remove an item and put another that looks the same type of scam, or a complex exploit to the trading system itself. People will find ways to scam others through trading. Another thing would be the toxicity that this would create. The biggest proof is in the Save the World community, Fortnite's forgotten child. That community is insanely toxic due to the fact that people who tend to want to trade items and flip them get really heated when the deal doesn't suit them, or when they are losing profit, or when they get scammed or fail to scam someone.
Back. I'll give you your gravedigger back. Here, come pick it up. Come pick up the gravedigger. You're done. Stop. You're not getting back.
Yeah, imagine Skyblock is already slightly toxic community, but multiply that by 10. The third point here is market manipulation. The owners of those Discord servers will be corrupt. If not them, then their staff. There's no escape from that. They will try to change the prices of items for their own benefit. For example, they will buy the aspect of the dragons from the market anonymously for, let's say, 1,000,000 coins, set the prices to be 5,000,000 coins, and since they are supposedly trusted people who set the prices, everyone will follow it, which will lead to those few individuals being ones that own most of the money in the game, just like real life. These 3 points here will make using those Discord servers or trading communities to buy or sell your stuff the last thing you'd ever want to do, because you clearly wouldn't want to risk getting scammed, and the stress you'd have to go through each time you want to trade wouldn't be worth it. You wouldn't want to engage with a toxic kid who swears at you in 4 different languages and posts your IP address on 4chan because you underpaid his item. And you wouldn't be able to trust the people who set the prices because of many rumors would have gone about how they manipulate the market and how their prices are just made up for their own benefit. Not to mention the fact that not everyone has access to Discord or other chat services. And because of that, a big amount of people will resort to manually grinding most of their items instead of just buying them from those places. But we're not done yet. We've talked about the auction house just never existing. But let's say that hypothetically, someone duplicated a bunch of Necron handles and started selling them for extremely low prices and dropping them to people in hubs, which has absolutely never happened before. And admins decided to remove the auction system entirely from the game forever. What would happen? Well, it wouldn't be all that different from what I said earlier. If anything, solutions like Discord servers and eventually an unofficial website would start popping up almost immediately as everyone rushes to profit from the new change. It will start off kinda normally because people already know the prices of nearly everything in the game. Some people will start resorting to manually grinding their gear, but as always, prices change. And with no way to quickly see other people's prices and no way to view the overall inflation rate, leaves people clueless about how to price their items. You might have one server pricing an item at 50 million more than another, for instance. It probably wouldn't be long until one website would be the main place where everybody looks to set their prices at, which, keep in mind, could still be rigged for personal profits. But the toxicity would still be everywhere, and the game would likely be in a significantly worse state than it is now, which, well, made the game objectively worse for everyone, except the people who are totally fine with endlessly grinding everything alone. Overall, I think the game without the auction house system will be terrible. The game would lose its magic touch in my opinion. After all, for me, I got into Skyblock because I love flipping items, and I saw Nolzy's series about it, and I wanted to try it out. Oh, also, Nolzy wouldn't have any views if the auction house never existed. Without it, the game will become some sort of stuffed Iron Man with an insanely toxic community and scammers everywhere, and without a storyline or a central economy, there really wouldn't be a whole lot left to play for.